Look, the artificial intelligence landscape is evolving at an absolutely breakneck pace right now. And honestly, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by the constant flood of updates, the new model numbers, and the constantly shifting benchmarks, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're putting the two absolute heavyweight champions of the generative AI world head-to-head, Google Gemini and Anthropic Claude. Welcome to the Ultimate Comparison Explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into this. The truth is, while both of these models are incredibly powerful, they're built with entirely different philosophies, architectures, and ideal use cases in mind. So you're probably wondering, which AI is actually right for you? Well, I promise you a totally clear, jargon-free guide today. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have all the structured information you need to make an informed decision about exactly which tool deserves a spot in your daily workflow. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Meet the AI titans. 2. Multimodal versus text-centric. 3. Coding and complex reasoning. 4. Ecosystems and integrations. 5. Speed models and pricing. And 6. The final verdict.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Meet the AI Titans. Think of Google Gemini as the ultimate corporate powerhouse. It's the brainchild of DeepMind and Google Brain merging forces, which means it benefits from Google's massive infrastructure, practically infinite data resources, and a real focus on ubiquitous ecosystem scale. Now, conversely, Claude was developed by Anthropic. They were founded back in 2021 by a group of former OpenAI researchers, including siblings Dario and Daniela Amodi. And they did something really interesting. They structured Anthropic as a public benefit corporation with a strict safety-first research mandate. So, the absolutely crucial point here is how Anthropic actually achieves that safety. They use this fascinating approach called constitutional AI. Instead of relying solely on really expensive and subjective human feedback to tell the AI what's good or bad, Anthropic trains Claude using a foundational constitution. This is a literal document, one that actually grew to over 23,000 words in its 2026 version, and it acts as the model's moral and behavioral compass. It directly influences the creation of the synthetic data used to train the models. So basically, it ensures Claude defaults to harmless, honest, and helpful behavior right down to its very core architecture. Moving right along to Section 2, Multimodal versus Text-Centric. Now, what's really fascinating about this comparison is how these models are built from the ground up. Gemini is natively multimodal. That means it wasn't just trained on text and then taught to see later on. It was trained simultaneously on interleaved sequences of audio, images, text, and video. You can literally feed it a raw video file and it understands the context natively. Claude, on the other hand, is robustly text and code-centric. While it can definitely analyze images you upload, it lacks that native audio and video processing capability that Gemini has. But because Claude is so relentlessly focused on text, many users find it has a really distinct edge in overall writing quality. It tends to produce highly nuanced, incredibly natural prose. But when we are talking about text, we have to talk about context windows. Basically, how much data the AI can hold in its memory all at once. Now, Claude boasts a very impressive range, spanning from 200,000 up to 1 million tokens. But Gemini 1.5 Pro just completely pushes this boundary to a staggering 2 million tokens. To put that tech into perspective, 2 million tokens means Gemini can hold roughly 22 hours of audio or 60,000 lines of software code in a single prompt. Just imagine dropping an entire book or a massive corporate codebase right into the chat box and asking a highly specific question. Both of these titans can handle an immense scale of data retention, but Gemini definitely takes the crown for pure volume right now. All right, let's dive into Section 3, Coding and Complex Reasoning. Both of these models are absolute powerhouses here, but they take very different paths. Gemini has integrated research from AlphaCode 2 to really dominate in competitive programming and math. Get this, with the Gemini 3.1 Pro preview, it achieved a staggering 80.6% on the SWE-Bench verified test for autonomous software engineering. That is huge. It also offers these deep think models specifically for scientific applications. Claude counters this with its hybrid reasoning models, which started rolling out with version 3.7 Sonnet. When you toggle this on, Claude uses an extended thinking mode to generate a highly methodical, step-by-step chain of thought before it ever delivers its final output. That makes it exceptional for highly nuanced, ambiguous problem solving. Now, for developers out there, Claude's dedicated appeal is really showcased through Claude Code. Launched in early 2025, this is an agentic command line tool that lives right inside your computer's terminal. You give it natural language prompts, and it can search your files, read them, edit them, run tests, and execute entire code-based operations. It became a massive viral hit for seasoned engineers and even for non-programmers doing what's now called vibe coding, which is basically just guiding the AI to build apps for you. In fact, the creator of Claude Code noted that pretty much 100% of Anthropic's own code is now written by Claude Code in Opus 4.5. How wild is that?
Up next, Section 4, Ecosystems and Integrations.
So Gemini obviously holds the ultimate home field advantage here. It is seamlessly woven right into Google Workspace. It's sitting in your Docs to help you write, it's in your Gmail to draft replies, it's integrated into Google Maps, and it even serves as the default assistant on Pixel phones. Claude takes a totally different but highly functional approach. It features Artifacts, which is this dedicated window where Claude can instantly render and preview code, like SVG graphics or even full websites right there in real time. Anthropic also introduced Claude Cowork, a desktop application that gives the AI a graphical interface to interact directly with your local folders, organize files, and generate documents right on your machine. However, granting an AI agent that kind of broad access to your computer's file system definitely comes with some risks. And that actually brings us to a fascinating cautionary tale from our source material. An early user of Claude Cowork asked the AI to just organize the files on his wife's desktop. The AI took action, sure, but in the process, it accidentally deleted all her cherished family photos. Yeah, literally wiped them. Thankfully, they were able to restore 15 years of memories from an iCloud backup. But it is a stark reminder that while these agentic tools are incredibly powerful, they absolutely require careful oversight when we let them loose on our personal file systems. Let's jump into Section 5, Speed Models and Pricing. When it comes to accessing these tools, both companies have adopted a tiered matrix approach. For those high-speed, cost-efficient, low-latency tasks, think quick text summarization or basic coding. You're going to want to look at Google's Gemini Flash models or Anthropic's Claude Haiku. But if you need that heavy-duty reasoning, deep math, or massive context analysis we talked about, you really have to upgrade. Google offers Gemini Advanced subscriptions so you can access their Pro, Ultra, and Deep Think models. Anthropic, meanwhile, offers Claude Pro and the higher-limit Claude Max plans to access their absolute powerhouse Sonnet and Opus models. And finally, Section 6, the final verdict. So what is the big takeaway here? Well, Gemini is the ultimate choice if you already live inside the Google ecosystem. If you're a student or a professional relying heavily on Google Docs and Gmail, or even a researcher who needs to search the live web seamlessly, Gemini is just unmatched. Furthermore, because of its native architecture, if your workflow heavily involves analyzing diverse media formats, like dropping in an hour-long video and just asking for timestamps and summaries, Gemini is absolutely for sure the tool you need. On the flip side of that, Claude is the definitive champion for dedicated coding and nuanced logic. If you are a programmer, a developer, or a vibe coder looking to just build software quickly, Claude's step-by-step hybrid reasoning and those real-time artifacts previews are completely game-changing. Plus, with tools like Claude Code giving you that advanced agentic control directly inside your terminal, Anthropic has basically built a purpose-driven workhorse for highly complex text and code-based software engineering workflows. Both Google and Anthropic are absolutely pushing the boundaries of what's possible, taking what literally used to be science fiction and turning it into our daily desktop reality. We've seen Gemini's massive scale and its multimodal dominance, and we've seen Claude's surgical precision in coding alongside its safety-first design. So, I leave you with this final thought to reflect on for your own specific needs. Based on what you want to build, learn, or create tomorrow, which Titan will power your workflow? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time.